Now I'm recording.
You're recording.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Gurreck Show. I'm Baelin.
Oh, wait. I missed that part. I totally missed that part.
Yes, you missed your part. This is good though. Who are you anyway? Let's just roll with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm Anansi. Anansi.
I'm Kok'ro.
And I'm eating a chip. You caught me off guard, crap. So for those of you joining us that have watched other shows with me, such as the Off the Tusk, this is different. This is not Off the Tusk. We're not here to talk about why we're mercs. We probably will today. But we're here to talk about nerddom through the eyes of Star Wars fans. And we are the officers of Gurreck Clan. So we figured, you know what? Let's have some fun. Let's get together. We miss each other. Pandemic sucks. So here we are. You get to stare at our beautiful faces and follow along as we explore the world through our eyes, from behind the T-visor, if you will.
Nice.
Thank you. I've been working on that.
Oh,
Behind the T-visor.
very, very nice.
So I'm going to kick things off a little bit with Mr. Anansi.
Oh, what?
Two ends.
No, there's only one.
Anansi.
Oh, yeah, there's two ends.
They're not together, but there's
No.
two.
Yes. Like the spider.
Yes, they could.
No.
If they're together, we wouldn't judge. But whatever.
No.
So earlier this week on Facebook, I saw you make a rather bold statement, and you know, personal opinion, but I had to call you on it. That you said that the Kaiju verse is your favorite verse,
Oh.
or
Second.
following right behind the Marvel verse.
That's right.
And I wanted to question that because, sir, there is another verse that comes before both of those.
Does it count as a verse, though?
Well, it's far, far away, and yes, it counts.
I don't know. I wasn't counting that because it's never been played off as like standalone movies. They've always been, well, until recently, it's just been one story just continuing. So
Well, now
I
it's
really
a
didn't
verse, so
count
you
that
have to reevaluate.
where you know
You do need to reevaluate now.
I don't want to reevaluate.
Like before it was
Star
a
Wars
saga.
Is
Now it's much, much more.
well, it is.
It's always been much, much more because we had books.
Yeah, but
We did have books.
Everybody has books.
that
I
talked
think
about
it
the-
also really took off with the Clone Wars series. Like that was so different and so new, and it was really long running. That was the first step beyond the books that we had.
No, there was droids.
We don't talk
Nobody
about
talks
droids
about droids.
or Ewoks.
Talks about droids.
I did watch the Ewok movies, and I liked them as a tiny little kid. Now
See,
I'm not so sure about them.
Trying not to be ageist, but I don't even know if you remember Ewoks had a cartoon show
They
I
did.
do remember the cartoon show.
where we learned about the Festival of Hoods.
Oh my
And-
gosh, that was part of the CBS morning lineup.
Oh yeah, it was the Droids and Ewoks Power Show, and that came right, at least where I grew up, it came right after Super Friends.
Not Hulk
Weird.
Hogan's Rock and Wrestling.
Oh, that was on earlier for me.
Yeah.
It was weird how they put things on, but yes, yes, brother, I watched Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling.
Mhm.
He's kind of my inspiration for my hairstyle.
Not surprised.
You nailed it.
I've been working on it. See, I've been even debating, a new facial hairstyle, but my wife
Do
says
it.
no. So almost did it for today's episode, and then the rest
Oh,
comes
God.
off anyway.
That would have been awesome.
Disaster.
Would have been epic.
Yeah. So
So, you-
Star Wars is in its own. I have it on its own special pedestal. But
What
as
would you
far as,
call
like,
it then?
I call it life, but
Good answer. Okay, I'll take it.
in the recent definition of universe movies, where it's like standalone films, where you have, Godzilla and King Kong, which are movies that stand alone on their own. You don't have to watch the other ones in the series to get it. Versus Wonder Woman or Superman or
Now, in the modern era, I will agree with you, especially over DC.
Mhm.
As we've discussed before, I'm a DC guy. Specifically, I'm a Superman guy. have not been happy in recent years with how he has been portrayed.
It hasn't been great. It hasn't been great.
No, I actually liked Superman Returns better than Man of Steel. If that tells you anything.
Okay.
I think Man of Steel had so much potential to me as the Superman fan that I am, and you know, your mileage may vary. Man of Steel had so much potential, and if I ever meet Zack Snyder in person, consider yourself warned.
Age appropriate.
Delete that. Edit that out. If I ever meet Zack Snyder, I will tell him he's a Jar Jar's better than him. Jar Jar could have made a better Superman movie than him.
Ouch.
Maybe.
Me's a thinking you need to jump in front, you know.
Oh, God.
Yeah. My attitude towards if the directors are kind of come across as kind of ashamed of the source material, it really doesn't work out. When you're like, let him be happy. Let Superman is supposed to be happy. Like the quick scene I saw of the Superman and Lois show or whatever it's called, the new one.
Yeah, Lois. Lois and Clark Part 2.
Yeah, like he looks happy. He looks like he has Superman's attitude. You know, he wants to be a symbol of hope, not I'm angry.
Dark brooding. Leave that to Batman.
Exactly.
Batman will do all the dark and brooding for the whole DC universe.
Well, except for Arrow, because they didn't want to do a Batman show, so they made Arrow Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. I've made it through quite a bit of that show.
I watched the half of the first season, and then I won't say I lost interest. I don't know if what happened in my life at that point, because that was a long time ago, and I just never got back into it. I watched the first season.
I remember it being a slog. Like it's it's long, and I think per season there's a whole bunch of episodes. The way they've been doing it recently with like 13 episodes or whatever is much easier to watch. They've got a more consolidated storyline for the stuff coming out now. So I feel.
Is that your sound?
Oh my God!
That was not my soundboard. That was not me.
That was my dog. Luna, go.
That's why I closed the door.
That was my soundboard.
Otherwise, he'd be in here. But Commander Wolf has other duties.
Is he patrolling the perimeter?
I was hoping Spence would corral the beasts.
Nope.
No.
You ask him to corral them, and he's like, sorry, had to be done.
That's fine. It's a new soundboard. It's a new show. You get to try it out.
It's a whole new world.
It is.
One could argue.
We're like a wacky morning crew.
That's kind of what I envision in my head, is that, you know, like I think I was saying, you know, I'm the host, you're the overwhelmed producer, and Christina's just here for the ride and seeing what
commentary.
Color commentary, and Joey is the wacky comic relief with sports.
Who's not here, so we're all just not funny.
Yeah,
no,
so we're just gonna make fun of him.
Not a bit. So,
What are we talking about? Got completely derailed by the squeaking dog.
Versus, and you were talking about Arrow and how it kind of went off the rail.
Yeah. I don't think it went off the rail per se, but it's just a slog to get through. Like there's a lot of it. I like it very much, but it takes forever to get through.
Yeah, I think I stopped around the time that Hawkman showed up. And
I stopped before that.
He was being extra creepy.
That's kind of Hawkman's shtick, though.
It is. You know, with the whole
talk about angst.
We were meant to be together. It's like,
so much angst.
I watched half of that first season. I watched the full first season of The Flash, but I binged it on Netflix. And then by the time the second season came out, I'd lost interest because I didn't spend months building up a fandom to it. I did it in like a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, whatever, I don't care. So I never watched any of the subsequent seasons. Shocking, if you've met my youngest, who is obsessed with The Flash. He's watched it. I haven't. Bad dad. Bad.
You've been busy.
Not for that long.
No, not for.
That came out That came out before I moved to Washington.
Yeah, it did.
So I have no excuse. And then Supergirl, I watched a few episodes of.
I couldn't get into it. I hear it's good. I just can't get past the first couple episodes.
I'm not a big fan, and it's one of those things that, I'm that old weird guy that, if I'm not a big fan necessarily of who the actor or actress is, I have a hard time seeing past, even if they're talented, I have a hard time seeing past them.
I think she was in Glee.
She was in Glee, and that's unfortunately was one of my wife's favorite shows. So I'm very well versed with her.
The fact that you guys know that.
I watched a couple seasons.
And just can't she's not. How do I put this delicately? There are worse actors, actresses, performers, but not many.
Oh, well.
One of the few worst was in Marvel and Star Wars and played a scientist and a princess or a queen. She was a terrible performer.
She's gonna be Thor, so
she's gonna be Thor.
Well, she will be if she doesn't stretch first.
No. See, that's why we need Joey here. No, but Natalie Portman's actually she's got guns now. She's like,
I think Natalie Portman's a whole nother thing, because I remember when the prequels first came out, I hated her. Like, I didn't think she could act. I thought she was awful.
I still don't think she can act.
There's a couple movies that I think she's good in. I did not like her in Thor. I thought that particular part was a little lackluster and didn't really fit her, but I loved her in V for Vendetta. Like, I thought that was really top notch. So there's a couple things I feel like really suit her, but some things that really don't. So I'm not really sure where they're going with this. I'm interested to see, because I've put a lot of faith into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how they storytell and what they can do with actors and basically just everything.
Yeah, and
I'm curious.
I can definitely, hop on board with that. I mean, the first Thor, Chris Hemsworth kind of sounded like he had a cold the whole time. And I wasn't overall impressed with, okay, this is obviously slapped together so we know who he is when he shows up in Avengers.
Yeah, my husband called it an origin movie. Like, yeah. That was like, it could have probably been condensed, but it was a good thing that we got the whole thing. But it was the precursor.
Yeah, but he truly grew with the role and made it to the point you cared about Thor, or at least that I did. By the time Endgame rolled around, is like, oh, I can understand exactly what he's going through. I've been there.
And I thought Ragnarok was perfection.
Oh, Ragnarok is I will put that on if I can't find something else to watch, or if I just want to laugh.
Yeah.
Ragnarok
is a perfect blend of dramatic storytelling and humor. And I think we have to put that to Taika Waititi.
Oh yeah.
Agreed.
For his brilliance. I mean, 100%. Every time that man touches something, it is both compelling storytelling and very funny.
Absolutely is. 100%.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate smart humor.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's very comic book. I mean, just a lot of comic books have a really good mix of humor along with the melodrama.
Back to a comment you made earlier. He's not ashamed of the source material.
No.
He embraced, and I like what he gave us with Ragnarok, and even his episodes to bring it back full circle to the best universe. this episodes and what he of The Mandalorian and what he did with IG-11. That was just, you cared and you enjoyed it, and it was I fell along for the ride and
everybody
enjoyed every
loves to
minute of
see
it.
a super dangerous droid become a nanny. Like everybody loves that.
I mean, who doesn't want one of those to watch even their pets? Okay, maybe not watch my pets because my dogs will sniff it and pee on it. You're a treat.
Yeah, he'd blast him.
No.
So
Get down.
circling all the way back.
Oh, all the way back.
The reason I made that statement is because I just watched Kong Skull Island for the first time.
Okay.
Because
Like where this conversation is heading.
Be prepared to watch Godzilla versus Kong, which takes me back to my childhood.
Hey, I'm Team Zilla, so
Team Zilla all the way.
I mean, but it's going to be an awesome movie.
It's going to be a good movie, and I need to watch. I have been horrible. I have not.
You haven't watched King of Monsters?
I haven't seen it yet. I know. Shame on me. I know it's on Prime, but I think I have to pay for it or rent it. Whatever. It's on my to-do list.
It's worth every penny. It's worth every penny.
Trust me, and I feel horrible because it's the only Godzilla movie. That one and Shin Godzilla. I shouldn't say the only. Shin Godzilla. And I can't bring myself to watch that one because I've had a few friends tell me about it. They're like, you won't like it.
Anything that has the son of Godzilla, I refuse to watch anymore.
There's been some.
It was a rough patch.
They're all good movies.
But King of the Monsters, as far as what I will call quality Godzilla movies, the only one I haven't seen yet. So that's planned for probably this week when I'm laid up on the couch with nothing else to do.
Gotta do it.
I do want to watch
it's
that.
Worth it.
But I really liked. My only real complaints about Godzilla, the first one, 2016, was some of it was a little dark. I would have loved to have seen some more daylight battle. And too much person, not enough monster.
It's on point with the old movies where you'd get an hour of either fighting aliens or some weird drama with occasionally a boat sank, and then all of a sudden you get 30 minutes of just pure kaiju action, just smashing, destroying buildings, and then they cut to some guy going, "Holy crap, here he is," and then right back to the action.
Not even that. It was just, I don't care about the guy's overly dramatic backstory. I mean, I liked the backstory itself, but I want more monster. Damn it.
I wanted that backstory to actually mean something. I feel like it didn't. Like, he was just some army dude, bro.
It's just
and in King of Monsters, you actually have a little bit more, and I actually really like the humans.
They might grow on me. I've seen a few clips where I'm like, okay, let's check it out. Now I'm looking forward to Godzilla versus Kong, but this is a fan of 40, some of my earliest memories are watching it on the late show with my dad, watching Godzilla fight whoever was. If I don't see a Godzilla drop kick in this movie, I am going to be sorely disappointed. Because anytime he was taking on the other kaiju, there was a drop kick, and he'd have that missile drop kick where he would just fly across the screen.
That happened like once.
More than once.
No, he flew one time. He figured out he could fly by biting his tail and he didn't fart. He kind of just spit out flame and just kind of flew. I think that was versus the smog monster.
Flying was the smog monster. He did. It was
King's. It was Jet Jaguar, and I think it was him and Jet Jaguar versus.
No, it was. Oh crap! It wasn't King Ghidorah. It was the other king. And
King Caesar.
Huh?
King Caesar.
Yes.
The lion. This lion statue that came to life.
Yeah.
He did the drop kick in that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch all of them again.
Oh yeah.
The old ones are great. Like, the old ones have such a place in my nerdy little heart, because every Friday it would be monster movies and pizza. And it was Godzilla all the time.
And it sounds like something we need to have happen with when we can all get back
It
together.
should happen.
Yeah.
Get some drinks, get the old movies,
Yeah.
and have a good, fun night. God, I miss people.
Yeah. For me, it was a Saturday, TNT, and you always knew it was about to start because they play Blue Oyster Cult. Just like, yeah,
It's time.
Let's see who's fighting this time. And then you just, zone out, play with your Legos until Godzilla shows up. Just let the movie
Yeah, I don't
play.
care about their superpowered dental floss that they're going to use to bring in whatever. Don't care.
Alien corporate espionage, or they steal something, and then all of a sudden Mechagodzilla is getting his butt kicked. And then it's all good.
That first screonk and you're like,
oh yeah.
Yes.
Fanboy moment, and yay.
So yeah, watched Skull Island. It was pretty cool. I liked how they kind of reinvented the King Kong mythos without doing the same, I mean, they kind of did a little bit of, oh yeah, he's really into blonde chicks, but not as much.
And
They did a good job with it.
Mhm.
They really did.
I agree. I thought it was I enjoyed Skull Island quite a bit. I'm probably going to rewatch that when I watch King of the Monsters. Just because I thought it was very well done. They did a good job of portraying Kong as a protector, not just, oh, I'm going to chill out just because I like the blonde chick who looks like a, ooh, tasty, whatever. He sees people, he protects people.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a good job establishing that, which will be I think will obviously play into the battle with Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Even though I still have my own theories. 40 establishment theories.
Oh, I'm just gonna let the story tell, because I mean, if we've seen like what happened with WandaVision, fan theories are
Oh yeah,
get your hopes
Out
up.
the window.
I never let my fan theory expectations control whether or not I'll enjoy the story.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my fan theory is like, please don't be what I think it is. Please don't be what I think it is. Yeah, it's not what I think it is. Ergo, WandaVision was not what I thought it was.
And it was brilliant, and I loved it every moment. I'm looking very much forward to is it Falcon and Winter Soldier starting this weekend, right?
Yep.
I'm looking
More story. Disney Plus. Yeah.
I'm waiting. I'm patiently waiting for Loki.
As we all are.
I'll watch. Obviously, I'll watch Falcon and Winter Soldier because I want to see some of what the story. What do they have to tell? But it's not super high on my priority list. Like WandaVision really wasn't. We were 6 episodes in before I actually sat down to watch it.
I mean, honestly, that was probably the best way to do it. Spence and I just watched them as they came out, and I was just like, I want more. Yeah. I want more. And then episode 4 hit, and you're like, no, I really want more. Because they finally started dabbing into some real life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like cinematic universe stuff.
I kind of like what they're doing with taking the time to flesh out some of these ensemble characters they can't do in the big movies. There's just not enough time in the day to kind of, do their own movie or whatever.
I appreciate it a lot.
So, getting a little bit of Loki,
Yeah.
Curious to see what they do with U.S. Agent.
That's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, that's a really good point about fleshing them out without me having to go drop $50 to go to the movies. I'm dropping whatever the thing is per year for Disney Plus, but I'm getting WandaVision. I'm getting Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm getting The Mandalorian. I'm getting all of the wonderful things that they've dropped on us, and they're going to be dropping on us for one low price.
All the stuff, it's worth it. And I hear Raya and the Last Dragon is really good too. Raya and the Dragon.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but I hear good things about it.
Yeah, I haven't because I don't have premium.
Yeah, I refuse to shell out the extra $30.
Yeah. For one thing.
I'm already paying for it. I'll wait.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend $30 to watch something that'll be free for me in a month. I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'm patient.
Plus all the
Ish.
other streaming services subscribe to.
So
Got
many.
Netflix. You've got your Hulu and your Prime Video and your Disney Plus and your HBO Max.
Paramount Plus and CBS All Access. And
CBS?
yeah, CBS has done like an all access thing.
Oh,
Go figure.
I don't have time for that. Yeah,
Yeah, nobody's got time for it.
Yeah.
Nobody's got time. Nobody's got money. It's
I
gonna
miss the
bring
good
back,
old
like,
days where you paid one thing and you got all the channels.
arr.
I honestly, I'm waiting for that to come back with
Wanted
some
them or
form
not.
of stream of somebody is going to realize there's a market of you pay me $100 a year or whatever.
Reinvent cable.
You get
Exactly. I'm waiting
everything
for cable to be
with
reinvented because
commercials.
it's coming. It's coming. Just wait. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's Comcast that does it.
Oh, of course. If Verizon doesn't get to it first, we're dropping a lot of brand names and we're not getting any kind of sponsorships out of this.
Yeah,
So,
but see, the cool thing is since we're not, we can drop their names because it's fair usage.
fair use.
Like I can do this.
Details.
No.
Bag's empty
Look, I don't have any. I'm not.
because I put it in a bowl.
Who are you sponsored by, Anansi?
This episode of The Gurreck Show is brought to you by absolutely nobody. Nobody.
Yes, the Gurreck Show where we watch Baelin eat chips.
We don't get paid for this.
No, but
We don't
we're
want to
paid-
get paid for this.
No.
No.
Well, let's not rush to conclusions now because I'm kind of like Mr. Krabs. I like money.
Are you going to start an OnlyFans where all you do is eat chips?
Maybe people might be into that. It's
People
ASMR.
might be into that. Yeah, crunch, crunch, crunch. But you have to like crinkle the bottle too.
Oh, and now. Yeah, now I'm creeping myself out.
Not for everybody.
I feel dirty. I feel dirty. Your solo cup isn't red. What's up with that?
It was. Now it's empty.
Well,
That's
we
the
can
problem.
take a brief pause while you make it red again.
So speaking about sponsorships or endorsements,
Yes.
let's take a quick moment to focus on Northwest Harvest. Mercs, we're all about the community. We're all about supporting community. Right now, we've had kind of a drought of troops where we usually collect donations for a cause. So I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about local charities, local events going on. This is kind of our way of putting out there, continuing to do the good Merc work. Good Merc work.
Good Merc work.
Trademark that.
Yeah, good Merc work. So this week we're focusing on Northwest Harvest. If you're not familiar, they're Washington State's largest hunger relief agency, and they have partnerships with over 375 food banks, meal programs, and schools that need the most. They've dedicated themselves to ensuring no one who needs food goes without.
We did some charity or donations to them last year off of our hoodie run.
Yeah.
That we ended up paying for almost 300 school lunches last year.
They even like dogs. So
Not to eat.
you usually hear their name around the holidays when they run some of their largest food drives, but they operate year round. They're supporting school meal programs, and especially during this past year when people are out of work, and they made sure people didn't go hungry. They're an amazing organization. Speaking of them, on March 27th, Northwest Harvest is partnering with the Chief Seattle Council of the Boy Scouts for their annual Scouting for Food campaign. And because a lot of food banks are kind of limiting physical food donations for obvious reasons, the Scouts will be going door to door to ask for virtual donations instead. What that means is they're going to look for monetary donations that equal the amount of food items cost. So say you want to get a gallon of milk, you would donate let's say hypothetically $3.75 for a gallon of milk or something. So you're basically paying for the groceries. So they're going to be doing this around Western Washington. So keep an eye out for a door hanger, which will give you directions on how to donate. And if you want more information, visit northwestharvest.org/get-involved/events. There we are.
And he'll throw a link up with this when it goes live.
I will.
Awesome.
Good plug.
Yep.
Very good plug.
I wrote it myself.
You did good.
Nice.
I'm so proud.
So proud. It sounded almost official.
I know. I should do that on the regular.
Well, you've got more to practice with.
Yep. Crumbs. Oh. All right. So what's next?
I don't know. I think we ran the kaiju into the ground.
Okay. We kind of did. So, so this is our first episode. I know we all three of us, well, Kevin, Baelin, you're obviously on every Off the Tusk, and
I am.
You're everywhere.
and Christina's been on one, but for the audience who hasn't looked at Off the Tusk yet, and if you haven't, you're wrong.
You should go watch them all. It's amazing.
You go
show.
watch it.
Single one of them.
Great content.
Yeah.
Amazing host. He's very handsome.
And some crazy guests. You'll never know who will show up.
Crazy.
Except
Crazy.
for the titles. So, why don't we just go around and talk about how we got into Star Wars, how we got into Mandalorian specifically?
Well, you seem to have started this bowl. Apparently, I need more chips because my bowl is empty. You started the ball rolling, so
Yeah, so I have to
Get
pass
on
it, and then you can pass it back to me. So I hand it to you. Oh no. So, Baelin, tell us a story of the before times, long, long ago.
In a galaxy far, far away, or just a state.
In
many,
When you were in
California.
a different
ago.
state of mind.
Yes, gather round, foundlings. Pappy Baelin's going to tell you a story. So many, many years ago. many years ago.
Mhm.
I lived in the great state of Texas, as they will tell you all the time.
The great state of Texas.
Yeah,
Yes, with their thick Scottish accents in Texas.
yeah. Actually more German, but you know, there's some Scots there too. So anyway, I started off in Texas. I did many years ago. I actually did Old West reenactments, and so I've had the costume.
One thing you didn't know about Christina is that she is an amazing ventriloquist, and she's been practicing, and so far it's coming off amazing.
I'm nailing it.
She
Watch-
can only
Sorry.
do half though.
Watch her drink a glass of water, and she'll be able to recite something. I don't know.
And I'll sound like 5 octaves lower too.
Yeah, that's the amazing part, is that she can change she can go totally masculine. It's
It's a thing.
it's amazing.
It's yes.
Sorry, Spencer is suffering from bronchitis.
Still,
Still,
I
he got what I had, and he's had it for a while. He's on medication, so it's getting better, but he's still coughing.
oh, he needs tacos.
And it's not the Rona.
Well, I hope it's not the Rona, because that would be bad.
We checked twice.
Good.
brain tickles.
Yeah, right. I've been there. Sorry. Continue, Baelin.
I
Sorry.
forgot so I did Old West reenactment. So yes, once upon a time I was a cowboy.
Doesn't surprise me.
It does me because I kind of look back and I'm like, really? Me? But I was young. We hadn't even hit 2000 at that when I was doing that. But I enjoyed costuming and the work that went into it. And that's when I actually found the Rebel Legion. I was like, wait, I can do Star Wars and do events and raise money for charities? Sign me up.
Nice.
So like a lot of people, and that was in around episode 2, I think, in the timeline. So like most people first joining the Rebel Legion, I wanted to be a Jedi. So I made a Jedi. I did one event and I saw how we got no love because the guys in armor were getting all the love. And there was a Jango Fett who everybody was just fawning over. And as is well documented, I am a Jango Fett fan. So I was like, I want to build one of those. And so I actually found the Mercs, and that was in 2009. It was June of 2009 that I signed up for the forums, and I became official in September of 09, way back with Dan. And yes, I mean, it was rough to build the armor that fast, but yeah, I did it. And I've been here, and then I moved from Texas to Washington in 17.
Yeah.
And so I have 2 clans. I have 2 families. I have the in-laws and the in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
And that was your start of love with Star Wars? Yeah, I think you missed part of that.
I thought we were just talking how I became a merc.
All right,
We're talking about Star Wars too.
Oh, well, Star Wars.
Got it.
My very oldest first memory is literally sitting in the back of my parents' brown Ford Pinto station wagon, not just the hatchback, the station wagon, watching the opening crawl as we're in the drive-thru, watching the opening crawl. I was 8 months old. And I remember still, and my mom's like, there's no way you can remember that. And I rattled off because they got rid of the car before I was 2. I was like, no, the car had this and this, and we had this blanket, and this was in the back. And even my dad's like,
that's powerful.
That's really impressive. Yeah, crazy.
And especially that early.
That shows how important Star Wars is to the youth. It bonds to you. It can form, your outlook on life. And then flash forward a few years, and I think I was telling you guys this the other day, of before Blu-ray and before movie discs, we had DVDs, we had discs that were basically records that the movie would get read by a needle and turned into the picture. And that was my first Star Wars, because it wasn't A New Hope yet. It was just Star Wars was my first home movie that we had, or that we had that. And then my dad got Close Encounters. So, which also goes to explain why I love John Williams music so much. But that was my love of Star Wars. It's been with me literally as far back as I can remember. For as long as I can remember, Star Wars has been a part of my life.
Awesome.
So what about you, Christine?
Oh goodness. I've loved Star Wars for a very, very, very long time. Not probably as long as Baelin.
Baelin's old.
Baelin's old. You're going through your stories and I'm like, 2009, I think I graduated high school in 2009. Okay, maybe not quite. Maybe there was some kind of graduation that happened in 2009, and it might have been like my first 2 years in college where I got my associate's degree. So maybe not quite that much, but
not helping me feel young.
We're gonna go
push the
farther back. We're gonna go farther back. The very first memory that I have of Star Wars was going to Costco with my mom, and she couldn't deal with the kids. So they had all the TVs and they were playing stuff, and she's like, just, sit here and watch something. I'm gonna go do the shopping and I'm gonna let the screen babysit you. So I was like, okay, cool. There's this thing on, and it was Return of the Jedi, and it was the Endor speeder chase scene. I was hooked from that moment, and I go back home and I'm like, there was this thing on TV. I need to find more of it. And my dad's like, I have those recorded from like live TV on these beta tapes that are, they're pretty small, but they were before VHS. So they're not quite as old as the record movie, whatever Baelin had. But I wore those things out because my dad had recorded all of the original trilogy. And I got to just watch those over and over and over and fall more in love with it. And me, the characters, the lore, everything. And by the time I was maybe 6, I I started a Star Wars fan club type thing at my gymnastics class. And I was homeschooled, so we went places to get like the extra stuff, like the gymnastics or the sports or what have you. But I was so in love with this. I brought all of the play sets that I had accumulated, and I brought the radio show. They have a radio show of Star Wars, and I played I found them first of all. And my dad recorded them. I think NPR played them. But I had all of those, and I brought those to the club, and we'd have like our little meeting, and we'd play. It was basically just playing Star Wars before we went to our gymnastics class. But to me, that led to more, it opened more doors, and I was like, oh, there's other people that also like this. And that opened the doors to all kinds of stuff. All during high school, I did a lot of text-based role playing with friends. So we wrote a bunch of stories, and we created, annex universes and just more Jedi that took place like hundreds of years after the original trilogy. But we had the sequels or the prequels to also bounce off, because I think it was high school by the time we got episodes 1, 2, and 3. And I remember just being obsessed with those. I was just so happy to have more Star Wars. And my love of the Mercs came, I think it was re-sparked by the prequels, because we got some background on Boba Fett. We got more Jango Fett. I've always loved Boba Fett. From the very beginning. It's like, oh, he's this one character that never really says anything, but he's dangerous and he's cool and I like him, and he's got a jetpack and missiles and a cape. And like, I want to do that.
He's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy, and I liked my bad boys. So the story of my costuming comes from my love of cosplay. And all during my childhood growing up, I did theater, and I was like, can I wear my costume more often than just in this play? And my mom's like, no, you can only wear it to like your dress rehearsal and on stage. So I'm like, where can I possibly wear my, make a costume and wear it more often? So cosplay was kind of born from there, and our town was doing a local convention and just got into costuming that way. And then I didn't actually get into the Star Wars clubs until I moved from Oregon to Washington. Carrie Fisher had just passed away, unfortunately, but I found that the clubs were doing like this big lightsaber vigil up at the Space Needle. And I'm like, I have to do that. I've always been very connected to Leia and her spunk, and basically what she's done for Star Wars and for a girl growing up. It was really important to have that kind of sassy role model who wasn't just a damsel in distress. Like he could get stuff done. So it meant a whole lot to me to go to the lightsaber vigil and see all of the people in Star Wars costumes and the lightsabers and just everything about it. And I turned to my husband and I'm like, why are we not doing this? It's time to make that Jedi costume that we've always wanted to do. We've always talked about, but never did. And he's like, okay, let's do that. So we did a little research, found the Rebel Legion also like Baelin. It's like, yeah, let's do a Jedi. Slowly made our way there. But one of the conventions that we went to, we met the Mandalorians. And I think that one was down in Oregon. And I took one look at them and was like, what is this? I didn't know this existed. This is the coolest thing ever, because you had all these different kits all these different colors and paint jobs, and you had the clean kits and the ones that were just bashed to crap. Like, it'd been through all kinds of battles. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want to do this next. You know, screw the Jedi. What is that? I needed that. So the fact that I was able to find both a community in Rebel Legion, 501st, and the Mandalorian Mercs that does costuming for such a great cause. So the charity work aspect, that's what I wanted in my life. I wanted to be able to do the costuming and also do something with it. So it wasn't just prancing around at a con going, look at me, look what I made. I made this fancy outfit that lights up and has all this stuff on it, but it's made of foam. It's like, no, I want the real thing. I want to feel like I'm in it. I've always been a fan of realism. My husband and I do a lot of pirate reenactment, pirate festivals, and it's always, it feels real. You get to carry around the sword. You get to, get grungy, all this stuff. And the mercs were that for me. It's like, you weren't wearing foam armor. You were wearing something that felt like you were in the universe. And I was completely hooked from that moment. I think it was like 3 years ago now.
No, we just celebrated 4 years.
Really?
No.
No, 3 years. My bad.
No, it's 3. It's
3. Okay, it's slightly
3.
over 3.
Yeah.
Slightly over 3.
Yeah.
Somebody had a 4.
You got approved like a couple of weeks before
you and
Spence and
yeah.
Yeah, you guys got approved and my bad. Somebody else had a 4-year anniversary and I got you confused. My mistake.
But yeah, it's been great to find a community of instant friends. Like, as soon as you're in it, you have this community, and that's what I really loved about the Mandalorians. It's like, they weren't just a club, they're not just a people, they're a clan, they're a family, and they're really close-knit, and that means just so much to me as a transplant from a different state who had nobody. Once you're in the club, you have instant friends. And when we are able to travel again, I want to travel to different states, different countries even, and be like, hey, let's do a trip overseas if we can. Like, if at all possible, that's what I want to do. That's goals for me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Star Wars is big for me.
And now,
Nancy?
Mr. Anansi.
Is it me now?
It is
It's
now
you.
you.
Okay. So this is going to sound, I don't know if this will sound terrible, but I don't remember when I first saw the movies. I don't. But you know what I do remember?
No,
Merchandising. I had all the toys. I had the Death Star final scene. So I had the Darth Vader where he kind of slid the lightsaber up his hand.
oh yeah, with the little
Those.
wiggly thing at the tip of it.
Oh yeah. I had all that stuff.
But did you have the Darth Vader head that opened up into, like, I think it was Cloud City? That's what I had.
No.
I had those. Those are great.
I mean, when growing up, there had to be a balance between my G.I. Joes and my Star Wars. And I don't know what happened to Darth Vader or the R2-D2 or C-3PO, but I kept a Scout Trooper, and that was something about the Scout Trooper armor was amazing. And I saw the movies and I loved them, but I wasn't like, in love. Like, we're cool and everything, and I loved the expanded universe. I'm a Wedge Antilles stan for life, because all this Rogue Squadron and Wraith Squadron, extended universe, I just devoured that. But it wasn't concrete for me until I got older. So, and the same thing was with costuming. Costuming was just for Halloween, and I always did. I went out for it. Once I got past the age where it was just a smock and a plastic mask, like rubber banded to my head, when I was old enough, I started getting elaborate. Like I wanted to be Snake Eyes, and so I got a balaclava, and I had all black, and I got a sword, and I didn't care if people called me a scuba diver. I wasn't a scuba diver. I was freaking awesome ninja. But eventually that kind of fell by the wayside. I didn't have a reason to dress up, and when you get older and kind of, I didn't go to parties until I had a kid. And having a kid is the most awesome excuse for being able to dress up again. So as my daughter got older, started doing Halloween, started taking her trick-or-treating, and I couldn't just go as, dude in a hoodie. So we did ensemble costumes. So if she was a dragon, I was a dragon slayer. If she was Iron Man, which she was an adorable little Iron Man, I was US agent. So, and it was a god awful costume. It was like cardboard with duct tape, and a cardboard shield. But people were like, "Oh, cool!" It's dark. Nobody can notice. Nobody really cares. So, got back into costuming that way until we went to shout out to Jet City Comic Show. Awesome little convention down in Tacoma. Started going to that. My daughter wanted to be Ahsoka because we'd started watching Clone Wars, which is the absolute, it totally redeems the prequels, if in my personal opinion. Seeing that part of it kind of just fills in all the gaps where you understand how Anakin went to whiny guy. But anyway, my daughter wanted to be Ahsoka. Again, we went all out building her costume. I made her montrals and everything, research, and I was gonna be Anakin. Until one day we went to Value Village looking for pieces, and I found a helmet.
And what helmet did you find?
I found
I need to know too.
Captain Rex's helmet. And from that moment, I was like, oh, I told my wife, and she's like, go ahead and get it. And I looked up all kinds of tutorials. Another shout out to Punish Props for making crazy awesome foam tutorials. And I built my very first genuine cosplay. And I don't know if this will show up, but this is it. Oh no, it's disappearing. Okay, Captain Rex. I made that.
Nice.
I went all out. I, shaped it, formed it, cut everything out, painted. It was like 24 hours before Jet City, and I was still painting the shoes and trying to get them the right color.
It's not a con if you're not doing the rush.
Oh man, yeah. So my car smelled like paint. I'm like driving around with the windows all the way down, like it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be amazing. So I got it, got to Jet City. My daughter won second place in the costume contest. She tried to jump off the stage. She was so excited being a little Jedi. And I was like, oh. So, people are coming up, bragging right as I'm leaving. Somebody's like, oh my God, you're legit. I'm like, oh. And that's how I caught the bug. So
you were infected.
Yeah, we kept going to Jet City and kept dressing up. And that's when I ran into the Mercs. And I ran into Cruiser and Shonar and, checking them out, checking out their awesome kits, knocking on their armor, like, oh, what is this? Is this real? And everything. and my wife, amazing partner and enabler that she is, she's like, do you want to do this? And I'm like, can I do it, please? And she's like, if you do this, one day you owe me another Captain Rex armor. I still owe her a Captain Rex armor, but I got myself a full-on Mandalorian kit, and it's been amazing. It's been one of the best decisions. I've made all kinds of amazing friends. I've been able to do all kinds of good things. And it's totally cemented my love of Star Wars. I already loved it more than Star Trek, and I had my reasons for that, and I would say that. But
that's time for another episode.
That is. But yeah, I'm in deep, man. I'm in super deep.
So when can we expect your new Captain Rex?
I don't know.
When is that happening?
That's a good question.
Well, you owe your wife Captain Rex, but I still remember the look on your face when you watched the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, and whatever, and I was like, you need to do that. You owe me. You owe me.
Din Djarin.
Boba Fett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Look at him. He can pull off the
He
older
can.
Boba. He can do it.
I mean,
But would you do super scuffed up Boba, or would you do new paint job Boba?
Now that's a question.
See, I just want the robes and the gaffy stick. I'm not even talking armor. I want robes and gaffy stick whacking stormtroopers at a con.
You're a little too invested in how I dress.
I have my reasons. Don't take this from me.
Okay.
Do it.
My wife takes precedence. I got a 3D printer.
Fine.
3D print files.
My wife comes first.
You can do both.
I can. I definitely can. But
see, the nice thing about being an adult is you can make those bad decisions and no one's going to tell you otherwise. And if you have an enabler, like I have an enabler.
Yeah, I don't get to make those bad decisions. My wife tells me what I'm doing, and I'm happy.
That's part of being.
Yeah, but how's your wife's kit? Like your wife's work, we're getting her there.
We're getting
slowly.
Her helmet's done.
That's sometimes that's the toughest battle is the helmet.
The best part of being an adult is being able to afford all the bad decisions that you plan on making.
I have a good job for my expensive hobbies, and that's why I have 5 lightsabers.
Only 5?
Yeah, I have a new one coming with the new stimulus check. I'm getting there. We do have the Tonfa from The Force Awakens, though. And I really like that addition to the weaponry.
Oh, the riot trooper?
Yeah.
You're talking sabers and Tonfa. I thought you were talking the one from The Force Unleashed video.
Oh no, not the lightsaber Tonfa.
Way back in
the right.
When I built lightsabers, that was actually my first commissioned piece. Was I built 2 Tonfa lightsabers and sold them.
Nice.
Awesome.
They were okay. I can do better now because I've learned so much more about that too. But
what are you waiting for?
You've seen my shop recently, and I can't go out there yet because I'm not allowed to get sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So why are you not using the basement?
Because it's my wife's office.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got that part. So eventually I'll get my shop picked back up, and I will do my V5 armor and my V6 armor. I have 2 armors that I want to build. I know, crazy.
Everybody's got their way.
Yeah, and I actually, one of the other things I want to redo, talking about regular cosplay, not necessarily mercs, but the first cosplay I did that wasn't mercs was that I can actually claim as a true cosplay was I did Dr. Fate. And I want to revisit that.
That's awesome.
Because it was EVA foam, and granted, a lot of it, the detail work I cut out on a laser, so it's beautiful. The helmet just never was quite right, and there are things that I con crunch. You decide, okay, I'm not going to be able to make this happen, so let's go with this shortcut. And I'd love to be able to put the work into the Dr. Fate kit that I put into one of my Mandos and have, a good resin helmet or even 3D printed helmet now, because that's a thing. And my chest piece and some of I know some amazing tailors and seamstresses that can do embroidery work for the cloak and have some fun with that.
It'd be really cool to see a souped up version of that. I've seen bits and pieces of the original.
And the sad part is I took some application style photos just so because 1, habit, but 2, to see what I was trying to work on. But I've only come across 1 picture from the wild, and it's not bad, but it's just one of those, okay, I need to fix, that's all I see is I need to fix that. I need to fix that. I need to change that. And so that's on my to-do of hopefully for some con in the not so distant future to redo Dr. Fate. So on that note, Christine, what's a dream
Man.
cosplay?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't know, recently it's gone less from cosplay to more interpretations of.
To me, it's all the same thing.
Oh, those are fun cosplays. The ones that are your own.
Yeah,
interpretation.
the last one I did for like 2 years ago when we could actually go to conventions was a character from a book. There was no reference. I just had to take all of the little details from the book. So I don't know. That's a really tough question. 2020 has been rough for me mentally, and 2021 is only slightly better right now. I think we're getting there with the vaccines and everything, and we're starting to branch out, and I start a new job in like 2 weeks after a long vacation, which I am desperate for. So I'm hoping that'll help reset things. But for cosplays, I really wanted to do Gaia, like my interpretation of like the earth goddess.
Oh,
I know it sounds weird, but my husband and I have had this combination that we've been planning and working on, like completely all out, like moss and flowers and covered in what have you. And you've got like the moon suspended in a headdress type thing. And then he's Kronos? Uranus, which is the sky. So earth and sky. I'm a big fan of couples cosplay. And my husband doesn't always agree to it. But this is one that we've both been talking about. He does leather work, and he'd make a whole new set of armor with like a 12-foot wingspan of the constellations that would all be all glowy when he opened his wings. And it'd be incredibly crazy, but I'm obsessed with that idea. And I feel like someday that might happen, because it would be an amazingly like flowy dress, lots of fake but realistic looking flowers and moss and twigs, and it just looks like you are a part of the earth. But yeah, I know it's not really standard, but it's kind of an idea that's been in my mind for a while that keeps growing and growing.
It sounds epic.
yeah.
I know.
Do it.
Someday, after I finish my second kit. I gotta get there first. I really want that second kit.
What about you? Besides Rex?
Oh, besides Rex?
Well, yeah.
That
And
is
Boba.
also a very good question. I hadn't really thought about. I always kind of wanted to do another Spider. I did one Spider-Man, but I kind of want to do another Spider-Man. I did a Spider-Man at Jet City. I did.
You did a good Spider-Man at Jet City.
I did Peter Parker's homemade costume.
Pre-Tony.
Yes.
with the goggles, with the welding goggles, and a sweatshirt. It's super. That is the most comfy costume I've ever worn, because it's just sweatpants and
So in that strain, how do you feel about like the washed up Peter Parker from Multiverse?
Oh, I'm totally down for that too.
That looks really comfy too.
I've got the physique for it and everything. Too much pizza.
Dad bod.
That's awesome. I've got the physical part down. I just need to find a mismatch of tennis shoes and I'm good, and a trench coat. But yeah, because Spider-Man has always been one of my favoriteest comic book characters. So my computer's background is a Spider-Man themed, and if you know Anansi,
Two
the
ends.
spider. Yes. So I would really, I've seen the amazing masks they do with the retracting eyes and everything, and I was like, oh, I want that. but I don't want to spend all that money. But I want that.
Okay, here's another question for you,
Oh,
Anansi.
okay.
Because you like to do the paired costumes with your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Has she expressed any interest in? Is she getting too old for Halloween? Is there going to be a Halloween 2021?
Excellent question. So the last Halloween that we could do, she wore her kit. So she wore her armor because she's actually she's in the Vertica Corps. So she's got fully regulation style armor. Awesome. It's amazing. So she wore that. I mean, and she was getting all kinds of hushed whispers as she would walk by. And he'd be like, "It's a Mandalorian." Oh, and gasps and everything. So she wore that, but her we only did one street. Usually we would canvas like half the neighborhood, but this time we did one street before she's like, let's go home. And she handed out candy the rest of the night. So I think we're getting to that point. I mean, it hits everybody, sadly. So I don't know if we're going to do another Halloween anytime soon.
What about taking her to more cons?
Oh yeah, that's happening. No, don't worry. That's going.
She's okay with that.
Oh yeah, that's different. That's completely different.
To me, when I found cons, it was like it's Halloween, but during the summer. It's perfect.
That's perfectly fair. Yeah, I mean, cons weren't really a thing growing up, so it really didn't have the same cultural impact until it was like, oh yeah, it's a place I can go buy more comic books when the comic book shop is closed. Like, I'm down for that. So yeah, I definitely gonna do more cons.
I know that there's a couple planned for like this year, but they're not until like super late, and I hope they're gonna happen. I need them to happen.
I think we all
like
do.
I miss the cons, not just for like the cosplay. I just miss people. I miss being around my friends in a good environment, and I miss the laughter, and I miss I just miss things.
Yeah, it does suck, but we're getting there.
Yes, if anything, it's made us appreciate things more. And so yeah, I'm like you. I'm hopeful that some of the things later in the year that we are cooking up in our little stew pot, I hope they come to pass because I need them to. And that's completely selfish on my part, and I admit that. But you know what? I don't care. You're supposed to say it's not selfish.
Oh yeah, totally not selfish. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah. See, it's not just me. See. Yeah. No. All right, y'all. Anything else? Or do you think we've given you enough to edit?
You have.
It's a lot to
vegetables.
edit.
Social distance.
Yeah, social distance. Wear your mask. Get vaccinated.
Wear your mask.
Why wouldn't you wear a mask? You get to look like a superhero all the time.
I got to tell my story.
Okay.
When the mask mandates first came down here in Washington, and a lot of people were like, "Oh no, I don't want to wear my mask." And I was leaving the grocery store, and I passed this older gentleman who had to be in his late 80s at the youngest. You could tell he was an elder gentleman, walking into the grocery store wearing a full 3-piece suit, fedora, and his mask. And I looked at him and made eye contact, and he winked at me. And I realized this is a man that has waited his entire life to be the shadow.
Yeah.
And he gets to be the shadow.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
You could just see it in his face. He's 90 years old and he's cosplaying in public.
It's beautiful.
That's awesome.
So
when the whole shutdown happened and they were, shelter in place, and we were at home for like 2 or 3, I think 3 or 4 weeks. I was off work for almost a month, back in like April. But I was like, I need to go shopping. We need to go to Costco. And of course, my husband, who's been off work since the beginning of it, he's like, I've hand stitched this plague doctor's mask. I'm going to go to Costco dressed up as the plague doctor. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to do that, I'm going to get in my Fallout 50s rockabilly dress that I made for Halloween last year. It's the plague. It's Fallout. It's the apocalypse. Why not live it up and have some fun? And it was the highlight of that entire month was being able to do that. And I'm like, sure, if you can bring somebody a little bit of joy when
or a little bit
dressing
of terror, or whatever,
or a little terror, or do it.
And another practical thing, it's cold up here in Washington. I mean, maybe for me, you get to wear a face warmer. I
My
mean,
nose,
face
it
warm.
hasn't been cold.
I know. Like, that's the best thing. You're like wearing it and you realize, the cold breath of winter is not breathing up into your nose.
And if you do suddenly start getting the drippies, who cares? No one can tell.
Nobody can tell.
Nobody can tell that you're making faces at them, but you
don't
got snacks hidden in your mask.
Whatever. It's a
you don't have to smell anybody else's breath.
Oh.
And
they always stay 6 feet away from me. Like, keep that.
Yes. And if you're one of those that, my rights, hey, just remember the mask helps beat facial recognition for all the cameras Big Brother has.
There you go.
Keep that in mind. So, on that note, stay safe, stay healthy, stay 6 feet away. I'm Baelin. This is Anansi and Kok'ro, and this was the Gurreck Show.
Awesome.
Bye.
Here, folks.
And that's how we do it.
Okay. Perfect.